Hi, I'm just going to take a few minutes and talk about the term assignment, which is called RAC assignment, and it's called that because it's just to recognize a risk in a workplace, to assess the level of risk, and then put some controls in place to reduce the risk, mitigate the risks, things like that. It pretty much is a focus of Chapter 4, okay? So Chapter 4 of your textbook is going to be a great guideline. Okay, so in the folder for assignments in your course content area, you'll find the term assignment for the RAC assignment. Okay, there's 3 documents in that folder. The first one is the assignment. It's very much laid out step by step what you need to do. Okay, just follow along, format it that way. The second one is actually the rubric. Before I even start, if you haven't already started, I would look at the rubric and determine what needs to be done. Okay. Notice where the weight is assigned. Like, don't spend too much time on something that only needs to be a short paragraph. The research findings, okay, based on your what you're going to have in your textbook, your IDA Select, some external research, you're going to have research findings for each. Okay, so you're going to be able to identify, first of all, I'll just summarize, you have to pick out a job, okay, preferably as something you're familiar with. Then you need to identify the risks in that job. Like if your job is just a retail in a clothing store, maybe a risk there might be lifting boxes down. Another risk might be standing on your feet all day. So go with something you know, don't go too big. Okay? So once you identify the risks, you then have to assess the risks. In your textbook on page 90 and 91, you'll find some nice tables for this. Okay? You should try to incorporate them in your paper instead of it just being all, say, written word. So identify the risks and then see what can be done in the place. The Chapter 4 nicely outlines a good flow of the information to actually help you. Okay? It should be, the third document, is actually a sample. I only put it there yesterday. It was one from a couple years ago. A student gave me permission to actually do it, even though I removed her name. That's just a sample. I do not want to see pretty much the exact same thing. That one was done fairly well. She could have had a bit more detail throughout, but it was still I think it's a good sample, say, for a particular layout. Okay, it starts out with a transmittal letter, which is not a letter to me. Okay, the premise of this assignment is you take on the role of, say, a consultant, somebody who was coming in to do an assessment on a workplace or on one specific task in a workplace. Okay, so some of this you're going to have to make up. The important thing is, if you're not sure, just send me a quick email if you're working on something and you're not really sure about the direction. Yeah, so follow the guideline that's there, how it should be formatted. Make sure you're using the rubric that's provided to ensure, because when I'm correcting, I'm using that rubric. Okay, so I can't correct what's not there. Okay, so try to follow like how the weight is assigned and lay it out that way. Yeah, so again, Chapter 4 in your book will help you. It's due on June the 10th. I want it uploaded into a Word document. I say that I want referencing, and there is some expectation, like if it's a topic that you can do a bit of external research on what that hazard may be and include that. So I do want a reference page using some type of academic reference in APA or whatever. You don't necessarily have to follow, like the sample that's the other person's using the running headers or things like that. As long as for this type of report, as long as you're including, say, some references of where you got your information, with the expectation that your book will be one of them, and the expectation that you probably are going to go outside of the course content area and find a bit more research. It's worth 20%. So, you don't want to not be doing it. You at least want to submit something. But the important thing now is due in 9 days. Hopefully some students have already got it started. Just ask me, just email me if you're looking, say, from direction, or if you have an idea of, and maybe if you run it by me, I might be able to give you some direction to go with that. Again, like I said, don't go too big. Don't go on something that you have no idea. Most everyone, from what I can tell now, what I've read, have had some work experiences. So think about a job you've done. that's how I would approach this. Then identify the risks, assess the risk level. When I say that, there's a risk analysis, like I said in the book, page 1991, have a look at that. Very low risk, high risk. You don't have to take, even though you might identify, say, 4 risks in the job, you only really need to take one to follow through with it. Like if you're going to do a table on the harm or the risk assessment, then you could just take, say, one of the risks. Try to be as specific as possible is what I say when you're doing assignments like this. Yeah, anyway, so just, so it's important to get it done. It's important to get it done on time because the exam will be coming up as well. But most importantly, just make sure you're communicating with me if you have any questions about the assignment. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.